Hello and welcome back to our Variag Horde campaign. We are attacking an army outside the settlement of and there are reinforcements on the way, marching quickly towards us by the look of it, from the settlement itself. So again, if we win this battle, we can get the entire city. We made a few changes to our lineup in the army, consolidated some units, and I threw in the family member who is leading the reinforcements here so we could have them both on the battlefield. We may need the extra help. The balance of power bar is slightly in the enemy's favor, and they are taking up a pretty solid position on top of that hill. They got some good units, including Swords of Harad, making up both flanks of their infantry block. They do have some weaker units in the center. Just a single unit of archers. The rest of these are desert skirmishers. The unit, though, that I am a little more concerned about is this, what is it, Scarlet Shields, I believe? And this is a very dangerous, fear-causing, strong cavalry unit. So we'll see what they do. I do imagine that they're going to fight us here, and I thought that I would maybe try to be sneaky and bring my cav around the left side. But now that I see the enemy approaching over there, I think I may want to do this instead. Bring the horse archers over there, and have these guys marching more with the rest of the army towards the high ground. And we want to set up again on this hill if they'll let us get here, and they may not. Alright, I think I want to run the cav actually now, because we want to make sure that we can catch that bodyguard so he doesn't just flee. We also have to keep an eye on this. Alright, so I think we'll just do a straight out charge. We'll bring the horse archers back there. These horse archers can come up here, and this infantry is not looking very strong, but if we can break this line fast, we might be able to make something happen. Alright, those horse charge worked extremely well, and I think we're going to catch the bodyguard. Let's get him. Come on. We've got to catch him just long enough to bring my other cavalry into the fight. And he's routing. There he goes. Alright, now we gotta run back. And we also have to hope that they don't just withdraw. Which they may. Looks like the cav are staying. And honestly, this force as a whole could do a lot of damage to me and could win. I don't think they're going to. I think we got this. There come their skirmishers. So let's kind of rush up, and you guys, yeah, let's have you pull back a little bit, actually. Just a unit of footmen. Bring the horse archers down there. Did I hear you say retreat? I better not have. Alright, let's rush our spear line forward and the axes. Let's get everybody in on this. Scarlet Shields. Yeah, let's charge those with the cav. Send our horse archers up and to the right. Of course, because our cav is grouped, they're going to be charging like whatever, which is, that might be okay, actually. Again, what we want to do is swarm their cav. Are you fleeing? Don't you flee. Let's get that Serpent Black. I think if we get him with enough of our cav, then we can cut him down. All right, some of these guys are sticking around. We caught him. Let's throw the horse archers in. And actually throw the skirmishers in to help break these guys and our archers. Alright, we got him. I think we got him. Let's go up here. We got to get those Scarlet Shields, I think. Watch our bodyguard. Alright. There we go. Alright, now it's kill enough of them so that we get the city. And not sure. do have some cav. They do have a substantial number of forces left. We need to get something like 85% of the enemy before they will completely abandon the field. Swords of Haraj are charging in. Everybody's routing now. Alright, let's get those guys. What are we at? 87. Okay, we jumped up to a lot all of a sudden there. Alright, I think we got it. Those footmen are going down to arrows, and our guys are getting in with their knives too, so that'll be short work of them. Alright, we can just shoot them down, I think. We are all set. And even if we didn't take this city here, I still think we would be all set because there's no nearby reinforcing armies. So it looks like they got one unit that's just routing off the field. Looking around outside the city, there wasn't anything. Nothing was on the way. So I think us taking out that army at the end of the last episode was really helpful. That may have been their last local units. So this is a heroic victory. Let's see. We lost almost 200 men, but did fairly well. Where's our retainer spearmen? Only lost 10, but killed 45. So they did very well for themselves, considering we just threw them in to the enemy swords. You know, arguably they're not necessarily for fighting enemy infantry, but they can hold up surprisingly well, so I'm glad we brought them. And we still got some Variag warriors, although they naturally took more losses. But now we can take the city. We can just walk right into Ur. Beautiful. All right. Lay desolate. Okay, folks, so here we are. We've taken Ur and Karenbad, and we show no signs of losing any of these settlements. A quick look around with my scouts reveals nothing. No enemy on the horizon. They don't even have terribly large garrisons in these border settlements. I think they might be spending a lot of their energy fighting Far Harad, but they're not making a lot of headway there either. I think we have got them between the rock and the hard place, and so Harad is likely on its very last legs. Their failure to take Akas Anabon, I think, was a mistake. I believe what they were probably trying to do was abandoning the siege to prevent us from taking Ur. Of course, that didn't work out for them, and now they have no prayer of taking this back, because the AI is, again, very sensitive to borders, and they can't take this without first walking through Ur's territory, the Upper Haradwaith. That means this is the one they're going to want to go for next from Harandor. If we just send our spy around in Harandor, there's just some small units left, but not really much to threaten us. We could certainly push north and take Rad Hardan, but basically we could take this at our leisure. We no longer have any worries about losing Athendad. All these coastal settlements are securely in our hands, and I'm feeling very strong about this as well. So I would say that this is a great point for us to call the run, but first let's remove the fog of war, because I'm very curious to see what's going on in the rest of Middle-earth while we were doing this. So as expected, yeah, Harad spent all of its armies basically subduing Harandor while we were dealing with them, and then scrambling some armies back south to try to deal with us. But they also went north, and so they took Emin Arnin, and they're maybe going to take Minas Ithil, but they have a very small force. I think this was a huge mistake on the AI's part. If they had instead moved down to the south to deal with us, that would have been much better for them, because Emin Arnin is not a settlement that they are predisposed to. Harad is going to have a hard time building up the infrastructure here to make most use of it. And so they're going to just, spend a lot of money, a lot of resources, and they're not going to get their best troops out of here either. So that probably helped us, the fact that they went north. Whoa! They took Dol Amroth. Okay then, good for them. I'm very happy about that. The Reunited Kingdom does have a pretty decent presence left here in the south. Actually, no, they don't. They do have a couple of small armies here, but they're not really doing much with them. Dol Amroth does not seem to be rebelling. So, wow, you often will see Harad land armies right outside Dol Amroth and put it under siege. But I don't usually see them actually take it or hold it for long. It looks like they may hold it here. And so that may mean very bad things for the Reunited Kingdom. We've already screwed them up by giving minus honor to their ally, Harandor. They showed no interest in taking that back, and they instead pushed on into Mordor, where they have made a clean sweep of the Nirn region, it looks like. Their strong armies are headed out into the east to chase down the last couple of settlements owned by Adunabar. But a big winner in the east, the recipient of our Operation Chaos, is Dorwinion, who I never see do this well. It's very, very interesting to see this. They've conquered down into Rhune's territory, and they don't look like they're at all going to lose any of this land. Dale has some territory here, and Rhune, this is the one settlement that they have, it looks like, but they were kicked out as a horde by me, of course, then were subdued by Dale after they settled, became a horde again, and resettled. And so it looks like that's where they are still. If we look at the diplomacy of Dale, you can see that Rhune is still a vassal of Dale, but they don't look like they're doing anything with their territory. Rhune is not at war with anybody. They're just sitting up there and probably broke. And I mean, they could do a lot of damage with these armies, but it looks like they're not going to attack their ally, and they're not going to start wars themselves. It's interesting to see that. I rarely get to observe AI protectorates. When I get a protectorate, this does seem to be what happens. When I make an enemy faction my protectorate, they tend to stop expanding for the most part. So I guess that's what happens whether you own them or whether another AI faction owns them. So that basically shut them off, which is kind of a shame because it would be nice to see them rolling over the countryside. No other horde markers. No, actually. What's that star marker? There's like a Chiefdom of North Rhune marker. What? What? Okay, I thought they owned Mithlond for a second. I may have gotten a little excited about there. My apologies. Okay, they didn't take Mithlond, but they do have a family member right by the Grey Havens. They don't own any territory, but they do exist. Well, I am very, very happy for them. Let's take a look again to see if they are still showing up here. Yes, they are. Well, that explains it. I was wondering where they had gone off to, who they were attacking, why they were fighting, Rohan and everything else. They must have just moved way over to the west for some ungodly reason. That is really interesting to see. It looks like it's literally just their faction leader. And so when he dies of old age, that's it for North Rhune. Wow. Okay. So, I mean, someone arguably had a more interesting campaign than I did. I thought I was doing great, coming around and settling in Umbar. But I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall to see what North Rhune was actually doing this whole time. Okay, so North Rhune still exists. That's great to know. The Bjornings, if we go back to this part of the map, Bjornings have one settlement here. Let's see. They are at war with Dale. They're allied with Rhune and Dorwinion, and they're at war with the elves, and they're also at war with the dwarves because they're at war with Dale. So I'm kind of surprised that they still exist, but for whatever reason, Dale is letting them live. And Dale is doing quite well for itself. Not as well as they could be, but let's see again. They're at war with a lot of factions. They're at war with Dorwinion, and that seems to have hampered their eastward expansion. So instead, they've moved into the west, taking over Bjorning settlements all around here, and down the Anduin Vale, down towards Rohan, who themselves have expanded into the east. And into Dunland. You do see Dunland get eliminated with some frequency. In my experience, they usually end their career either up here in the Misty Mountains Hold or over here on the coast in Lymphalis. So AI Dunland doesn't always do well. It does depend on what faction you're playing, because every faction you choose is going to be a different experience. We have different scripts that begin the campaign. You don't have to babysit the scripts, as you've seen from the campaign footage here. You don't need to do anything, but just depending on which faction you select, the mod has been tinkered to make certain factions more or less powerful. So if you're playing as, say, a Dunabar, Dunland is going to be less powerful because Dunland is your ally, and so we want to make the campaign harder for you. But if you're playing as Rohan, Dunland is going to be more powerful. They're going to get some extra armies at the beginning of the mod, and that may make a big difference. But yeah, Dunland usually struggles. They're kind of surrounded by hostile territory, right? There's all these outlands. They're not native to Dunland, right? So even if they conquer into Eriador, they're running into trouble there. If they conquer into Rohan, I think those are all outlands as well, or fiefdoms. So it's just harder for them to get a foothold outside of their homelands, and so they tend not to get very large. So Rohan is doing its usual thing. The Reunited Kingdom is doing well in the south, as we saw. They've gone all the way into Mordor, but also into Rovanion, although I don't expect that they'll do too much up here. Let's see who they're at war with potentially in the region. Yeah, they're at war with Dale. Okay, and Dale is at war with Rohan, as well as the Reunited Kingdom. So, yeah, so the Reunited Kingdom is also at war with the Elves. Right, Dale took Amon Lank. Okay, so, but is Dale at war with the Elves? I think they may be. No, they're not. They're allied with the Elves. So what happened is the Reunited Kingdom, or Rohan, took Amon Lank, and Rohan, as we saw, took Karas Galadon, and then Dale took it back from them. Okay, and so Dale, it looks like, might be making progress and may be the winner in this region, although Rohan does have a lot of resources here. They have the potential to be very wealthy. Dunabar, though, in the northwest, is doing fantastically well. We saw them with a ton of stacks just standing around Numeness here. These are all full stack armies. They haven't done anything against the Shire, which is a little surprising. They haven't moved against the Elves, but they have certainly just about eliminated Tharbad, although are they at war with them? Yeah, they are. So Tharbad is down to just this one settlement here, and Dunabar has taken everything else. So that's really interesting to see. And they're pushing south against Rohan, and maybe would win, given enough time, because Rohan is dealing with pressure in the north from Dale as well. Well, so this is a very interesting campaign. Over in the east, we can maybe take another look at how this part of Harad's empire is doing, and not too good. From these regions, they can train some good units. This is still fiefdoms, or this is a homeland for them. This is maybe a fiefdom or an outland. But these places are not giving them nearly the production potential that they would need to push back against me, especially since I've got forces coming from Umbar, and I've got a pretty strong position up around Ur. I'd still need to recruit, I'd still need to train stuff and keep my building up, but again, I'm doing a lot in terms of my economy. I just queued up a couple of buildings there, which is why my economy is looking so bad. But honestly, if I were to just destroy some stuff here and get going on my own homeland dominion, it would be balanced out. Yeah. So I think this is a great place to end it. I know that in the future what we would do is take Akos Anabah and possibly push up into Harondor, but maybe just try to hold this forward and instead push east and maybe end the campaign taking back my homelands from Far Harad. But for the moment, I'm just happy to see Far Harad doing well, although they are training a lot of very small armies, no doubt chasing away these Haradrian hosts. So this has been the run. Variag Hordes traveled all the way around the map from Khand up the east into Rovanion and down through the Ithilien region, sacking territories on their way until we made a homeland on the coasts of Umbar. And from there, we were able to expand into a point where we felt extremely secure. So thank you very much, folks. This has been a fun run, and I'll be thinking of some other interesting campaigns to try. There's a lot to do, as you can tell, in 4th Age, and I'm always down for another campaign. So until the next one, take care.